guess what? When you start to trim the pork, the pigs start to squeal. And that's what we're going to see when these things get exposed. The uproar is going to be deafening.
It's State Representative Chris Miller, the leader of the Illinois Freedom Caucus in the Illinois House, yesterday during a news conference saying when he starts cutting the pork, the pigs start to squeal. Well, they found $1 billion plus of what they say is pork going to non-government organizations, NGOs. It is Illinois in Focus Daily. I'm Greg Bishop. Like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and join us each and every weekday morning as we break down things for you to know here in Illinois. All right, so if you go to thecentersquare.com, you'll see the story. Illinois House Republicans call out $1 billion for NGOs, and they plan their own budget proposal. And again, if you're at thecentersquare.com, sign up for the newsletter up there in the right-hand corner. So yesterday, you had House Republicans in the Freedom Caucus join together. They had several charts and boards printed out during a news conference to say it's time to Doge Illinois. And they walked through just a handful of what they say is $1 billion worth of spending on NGOs. Here is State Representative Brad Halbrook laying out exactly what they've got in front of them.
If history repeats itself.
Well, let's go. That's Chris Miller. Let's do Chris Miller. All right. So here he is talking about the budget process and how it's likely going to play out as it's played out in previous years.
If history repeats itself, which we can expect that history will repeat itself, there will be more taxpayer abuse, more spendocrats spending out of control money. As usual, the budget has been drafted in secret. It'll be dumped on the last day of session, most likely in the middle of the night. No time to review. And what we can expect is there'll be more taxes, more borrowing, more spending, more regulation.
And I'll tell you, having covered the legislature for now 11 years, I think I'm going to start going on 12 years here soon, later on this year. But anyways, that's what I've seen. I've seen, budgets that get proposed in February, but then, instead of, it's supposed to be their priority. It's supposed to be, the major issue they tackle every spring session. But instead of doing it early and getting it out of the way and then going after smaller issues, they go after smaller issues first and then they drop the budget last minute. Typically, it does come out an afternoon, evening. They have a committee hearing and then they debate it on the floor of one of the chambers and pass it maybe 11 o'clock in the morning or who knows. It could go all the way until 3 o'clock in the morning. I've been there all seasons watching this unfold, and it very much is last minute, and taxpayers don't really get to see what's in that budget, and that's why they say it's problematic. Here's State Representative Brad Halbrook yesterday.
Today we're turning our attention to a staggering amount of taxpayer money, over $1 billion, that's being funneled into political connected non-government organizations, or NGOs. This wasn't uncovered by government watchdogs, but concerned Illinoisans and Republican legislators that our grassroots effort we call Doge, or the Department of Government Efficiency. Before we show you where the money's going, we need to ask one simple question. Why is government funding NGOs at all? First, there's no transparency. NGOs aren't subject to the Freedom of Information Act, or FOIA. Taxpayers can't see how their money is being spent. Just last week, a lawsuit was filed because the state refused to release a contract detailing how much public money was being sent to specific groups.
Now, I've done some of this myself, going into Illinois' checkbook through the Illinois Comptroller's website, and also cross-referencing it with Open Books, which is Adam Andrzejewski, rest in peace, his organization that he started to essentially FOIA all governments and track their spending. And you can go search Open the Books and find all kinds of state spending as well. And I found things like, millions of dollars going to chambers of commerce, millions of dollars going to Latin Action or Latin Women Action, and just all of these different organizations, non-government organizations that get these funds. And a lot of it comes out of the Human Services Fund. Halbrook saying that's a line item that he feels is being abused.
Third, the Human Services budget has been hijacked. It used to mean helping seniors, helping single mothers, and people with disabilities. now is packed with programs for politically aligned groups offering vague services like parent mentoring, immigrant support, LGBTQ advocacy, and many are race or identity-based initiatives that serve political agendas, not real need. Fourth,
So you got Halbrook laying out some of the just major concerns there about the crowding out of spending, going to non-government organizations, some of which have a political bent and support the majority party, and will get out to the streets and get people out to vote for Democrats, for instance. That's their allegation here. He also says that while money's going to churches in Chicago, he says that other nonprofit churches are getting crowded out by all of this spending of tax dollars going to what the government's picking winners over losers.
the government is picking winners and losers and rewarding those who keep the majority party in power. Finally, there's a better way. We're not saying that all nonprofits are bad, but instead of blank checks to the politically favored groups, let's support people directly, help families, the disabled, and others in need. Then let them choose the services that work for them.
So obviously the government has a lot of different services that government, we think, is providing. But in this case, you've got a ton of non-government organizations that are getting money to provide government-related services, but the complaint here from Republicans and the Freedom Caucus is that there's no real way to audit or to FOIA these non-government organizations because they're non-government organizations. We've seen this in the Department of Government Efficiency on the federal level with all kinds of line items that they've highlighted that don't really seem to have a specific advantage for taxpayers in the United States. So here's what you can do. You can go to Breakthrough Ideas, and we're going to actually talk with former State Representative Jeannie Ives about this tomorrow morning in more detail, but they've started a Doge Illinois resource where you can go through and read all about all of the different types of spending. Just some of the headlines here: $237 million to radical ethnic and religious NGOs in the current state budget. You've got $1.25 million to One North Side for political issue advocacy, $73 million for local chambers of commerce, and I've seen this one as well, like the Mexican American Chamber of Commerce gets a couple of $1 million. Illinois Doge profile, Chicago's Indo-American Center, they highlighted that during yesterday's news conference, where this Indo-American Center gets $14 million in the current fiscal year. That's like 3 times or 4 times more than they got the previous fiscal year. And again, the Republicans are critical of this, saying that it seems that they're doing government type of work, but no real way to audit that. So again, a lot of money. You can go and check all of this out. And you've got other resources as well from former Representative Ives as part of Breakthrough Ideas. $600 million appropriated to euphemistically named NGOs, and breaks down some of those numbers. Care for Real, $1.6 million. Chicago Therapy Collective, $1.5 million. Fathers Who Care, $1.1 million. $2 million for Guitars Over Guns. I mean, I like guitars. But we're paying somebody, a non-government organization named Guitars Over Guns. All right, just let that sit there and simmer a bit. But one thing I found was like the American Lung Association, a nonprofit, they got $5.8 million from the 2024 fiscal year. That wasn't on the Republicans' list they laid out during their news conference. Not a Freedom Caucus member, State Representative Marty McLaughlin. He says that, there's an important question about which nonprofits are the best and which nonprofits aren't. Either way, it's a lot of taxpayer spending that Illinoisans can't afford, he says. Here's Martin McLaughlin from Barrington Hills.
Well, the first thing is that Representative Miller mentioned, how do you audit these non-for-profits when they're not bound by the same rules and regulations that state agencies are? It's hard enough to get the state agencies to cooperate when we ask for FOIA requests. I mean, there's the speed in this world, and frozen ketchup or slow molasses is where we get this stuff back from these government agencies. We need to have the ability to go into these agencies and have them respond, and the current structure doesn't allow us to. So, although your question is great, we can't get information from the spending from these agencies in the way that we need to as legislators that oversee the spending of our tax dollars.
So clearly the House and Senate oversight bodies, but when you have the party in power controlling both chambers and the executive branch, is there really going to be true oversight? Again, State Representative Chris Miller saying that they need to continue to highlight this spending, and when they do, and if there are any cuts to these line items for these non-government organizations, the pushback is going to be intense against those politically connected groups.
Guess what? When you start to trim the pork, the pigs start to squeal. And that's what we're going to see when these things get exposed. The uproar is going to be deafening. And so we need to orchestrate a real change in our vision and what we're trying to accomplish. We put Illinois citizens first. We put Illinois businesses first. We put Illinois families first. And guess what? Voila, you're going to see massive structural changes in the state of Illinois and the way we do business.
So again, Republicans, part of the Freedom Caucus, laying out the $1 billion+ they say goes to NGOs. And we'll be talking a lot more about this in the weeks ahead as they craft that budget. But go to thecentersquare.com, because it's not just NGOs where questions are raised about how tax resources are being spent. Education officials in the state of Illinois had to stand in front of the Illinois Legislative Audit Commission to look at an audit from 2 years ago, and they found all kinds of problems with the State Board of Education and the Illinois State University. So you can go watch some of the highlights of that hearing from yesterday at thecentersquare.com. All right, I'm Greg Bishop. It is Illinois in Focus Daily. Get the podcast where you get podcasts. Check out the live show each and every weekday morning here on YouTube with The Center Square, and get the headlines in your inbox at thecentersquare.com. Sign up for the newsletter today.